So you decided to be different. Good job. I'm glad that you're joining the rest of us. But you decided not to use the cruise line to do your excursions. So you're doing it slightly different. And that means you're doing your excursions on your own. I'm Brandon Pitt, you're on the Pit Stop, and today I'm going to give you a couple pointers if you're going to do your excursions off of the cruise line so that you'll have a great time and know how to do it. Let's get into it. First things first, if you're going to be doing your own excursion, you need to make sure that you know your port. If you're going to be doing this yourself, if you're going to be exploring yourself, I am a big fan of that. I love to do it, but you need to know and understand your port. How do I do that, Brandon? There's a couple different ways. First, you can watch YouTube, as you're currently doing. You can be watching YouTube videos just to get a better understanding of where you're going. I am going to be making videos on a lot of the Carnival cruise ports, on a lot of the Royal Caribbean cruise ports, on a lot of the NCL cruise ports, and on the Disney cruise ports, just where they all typically go. And I'm even going to do some of the ones that only a couple cruise lines do. That will come later though, but you can look up different YouTube channels and you can watch their cruise port tours or the towns around the cruise ports as they change, and it's good to know what you're going to be getting yourself into and what that area has to offer, because every area is different, right? Let's say that you're going to be in the Mexico area and you go into Cozumel. Well, at Cozumel, they have a lot of great easy access beach clubs, and they have a lot of easy access tours and zip lining and things like that. But if you go to Belize, you might want to check out what they're notorious for, like their tubing through caves and some of their kind of zip lines that go into caves. And if you're around Progreso area, you might want to go to Merida, which is the capital of Yucatan. Or you might want to go to Chichen Itza, which is now a Seven Wonders of the World, which is a Mayan ruin there. Or you might want to go to the Cientos, which are just underwater caves, underground caves that have water in them, and they're really cool. But wherever you're at, you won't know that if you don't do your research. You can do research on YouTube. You can do research by reading articles. You can do research by doing Facebook groups, and that might be one of the best ones for most people, is Facebook groups. Look up, Carnival, whatever cruise line you're going on, or look up Royal Caribbean, whatever date you're leaving. And it's just a lot of fun to do it that way, and you get to meet with people on your cruise and get great advice from them. My second thing when you're planning your own excursion is set your expense, or set the price you want to spend before you even start planning. The reason you're going to want to set that price beforehand is that things can get expensive. So set your budget and then work within your budget. I'm going to give you a couple things that you're going to want to keep in mind as you're budgeting and understanding all of your expenses. First, transportation. Okay, you're going to need to plan once you get off of your cruise and you're at, wherever you're at, whatever cruise port it might be. You're going to want to see, do I need to take an Uber? Because a lot of countries have that. Do I want to take a taxi? Do I want to take a DD if you're in a country that has DD, like Mexico or something? Do I want to take, a van, or what's available? So know what's available and know how much it's going to cost. You might want to text a Facebook group. You might want to do a Google search or watch a YouTube video to find out how much transportation, and even if it's going to be safe in the area that you're going. Also, you're going to want to plan for food. If you're going to be off for a good amount of time, you're going to want to plan for lunch. And I recommend doing it local because that's a lot of fun. So try to find a cool spot ahead of time and plan how much that's going to cost per person. Now, if you're going to someplace like a turtle exhibit, or you're checking out this really cool aquarium, or you're checking out whatever it might be, even some beach, like a beach club, know how much it's going to cost in admission, because admission prices are real, and know if it's going to include lunch, include drinks or not, so that you can put that into your budget. And I like to budget in miscellaneous, whether that be spending, whether that be I want to donate to something that I see, whether that be I want to bless a person that I meet that's a local, whatever it might be. Plan in some miscellaneous accounts, because you want to buy cool things while you're there, a souvenir, a t-shirt, or bless somebody. because I think that's something that we should do while we're in these, especially third world countries a lot of times. So put that into your budget, plan it out, and those are the things that you should put in your brain to make sure you budget for. I have one more tip, our third tip for you guys, but before we get there, I want to thank you guys for watching up until this point, and I want to invite you guys to just take a second and give us a like, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment down below on what the best excursion you have ever done outside of what the cruise line had to offer and how much fun it was. I also want to announce our giveaway that we're currently doing. Once we hit 10,000 subscribers, I know we're nowhere near there yet. I know we're not there yet, but I know that we can get there as we're making this family, and we're going to have a lot of fun creating this community. But when we hit 10,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a free cruise. You heard that right. So a free cruise will go to one of you guys once we hit 10,000 subscribers. So subscribe and join us on this journey. And my third tip for all of you guys today is plan, plan, plan. And if I didn't say it again, plan. And you're like, Brandon, I've already known the port, I've planned my expenses. What more could you be talking about? What I mean by this is I want you to fully understand your cruise ship itinerary, okay? I want you to understand where you're going specifically, like, because sometimes there's multiple ports when you're going into a specific place. So for example, Cozumel, I know I've talked about them already, but Cozumel, if you're going into Cozumel, there's two different places you could go. If you're on a smaller cruise line, like a Princess, or on even NCL sometimes, and I've even seen some of the smaller Royal Caribbean ships and all of Disney's ships, they go into a smaller cruise port rather than if you're on Celebrity or Carnival or most of Royal Caribbean ships, or one of the bigger cruise lines with more cruise ships. They go into a totally different cruise port that can hold several ships. So they're very close. They're only about a 5-minute drive from each other, but they're different. So understand where exactly you're going. Also, I want you guys to understand the itinerary of your ship. And what I mean is, if you're getting there and you're disembarking at 8 a.m., you're going to want to get off at 8 a.m. to do your best to get to where you're going to go and spend the most time that you can. But even more importantly, if you're leaving at 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whenever it is, it's likely going to be somewhere between 3 and 6 p.m. that you're going to be leaving. Know what time it is, and remember, it is not the island time or the country's time, it is the ship time that matters. So get one of yourselves those, digital watches that won't adjust when you change your service back on, and know exactly what time you need to be back on the ship, because they will not wait for you. And that's one of the scariest things, right? Is that you could be left. And that's one of the biggest reasons why people stay on the cruise ships excursions, even though they might not be as good, and even though they're typically way overpriced, in my opinion. Not way overpriced, but typically there is an up price there, and I like to do it on my own because I like the adventure. But you need to know what time you need to be back and give yourself leeway. Don't plan it to, oh, I'm going to leave at 4, so let me get back to the cruise ship and back to the port area at 3:45. No. Get back at like 3 or 2:45, so that if something happens, you can have time to do that. And then just explore the port for a little bit if you want to take every minute you can, like I do in the country, and then get back on. But give yourself leeway and know exactly what time you're getting back on the cruise ship. So there you guys go. You might be thinking, Brandon, what if my cruise thing gets canceled, or the cruise excursion gets canceled? And if that's a question you're asking yourself, I'm going to link a video up above and down below where I give you 3 tips on how to pivot and how to be ready for when a cruise excursion, whether through the cruise through the cruise ship or your own excursion, gets canceled. I've had it happen to me, so you need to know what to do if you're in that situation so you can still have a great time. Outside of that, y'all have a great rest of your day. This has been Brandon Pitt. You've been on the Pit Stop. Have a great time traveling, a great time cruising. Until next time, we'll see you later. Peace.